This Instagram clip
It's like he was talking to me, you know what I'm saying?
got over 130,000 views in just 3 days.
I just got out of prison last week.
It touched your hearts. So we wanted to show you more about the story behind one of these young men who were touched by the word that day. Growing up, AJ was always close to his family, especially his father.
My dad and I, we were close growing up, you know. Everything that still inspires me today is because of him.
Everything seemed to be on the right track until the unexpected happened.
His brother passes away. So we weren't prepared for that. And it affected our whole family. My husband, I think it affected him the most. At least how it affected him affected us the most. Because a part of him died when his son passed away. And we began to see him become this person that he wasn't before. He begins to become very withdrawn. He's trying to process the pain. He loses his ability to be a husband, a friend, a father. And AJ's affected a lot by that because now all of his friends in the country, they're starting to ride dune buggies with their dad, they're horseback riding, they're doing all of these things. And when AJ shows up, he's alone. And you almost can see this invisible arm reach out from AJ to his dad, and he can't find this connection.
I always knew my dad loved me. He definitely had a tough way of showing it. You know, he didn't say it too much. I would say it, and sometimes he wouldn't say it back. And for a while, that bothered me growing up, you know, because I'm like, you know, why don't you say it back, you know?
So some of those things are, I think, part of the early story of AJ trying to find who he is. And now the voices that he's listening to are not coming from inside the house. They're coming from outside.
18 and in college, the voices from the outside have influenced AJ to drift so far from his family, he becomes addicted to drugs and is stealing to support his habit. And he gets caught.
I go to jail, and I'm booked on burglary of a habitation.
Because he's never been in trouble before, they put him on 5 years probation. He comes home.
Now a felon, AJ struggles to keep a job. Feeling hopeless, he falls deep into his addiction and continues to steal to support his habit until finally, it's the last straw.
I violated my probation, and I was sentenced to 5 years with not even 5, maybe 6 months to go on probation. It was devastating. It really was. It was devastating.
AJ's now in prison trying to get the rhythm of it all when he gets a surprise visit.
When I walk into the visitation room, it's the last person I expected to see. It's the person who told me he would never come see me. It's the person who told me, don't call me, I'm not putting money on your books. It's the last person I expected to see, and it was my dad.
And I tell you, my husband, we could see the fortitude in him, and he was saying, I am not gonna lose another son. Whatever I have to do, that's what I'm gonna do.
I was locked up for 26 months. Out of 26 months, my dad maybe missed 4 weekends coming to visit me out of the whole 26 months. There every weekend, we're talking, you know, stuff I never thought we would talk about, a relationship I never thought we would have.
And they developed this bond that was so amazing that my husband would lay his clothes out the night before he's going to see him.
Just released from prison, expecting his father to pick him up, AJ can't find him anywhere.
So I'm just walking, I don't see nobody. I'm like, dang, my dad told me he was gonna be here. Okay, so I'm walking, I guess I gotta catch the bus now. And he's sitting behind a tree. And when I'm walking and I look, he's like, I was like, man, I didn't think you was coming, I didn't think you. He hugged me, we hugged for a good 2 minutes. We was embraced.
And when he walked in the house for the first time after all those years, I just cried because God had been faithful. He had been faithful.
A few days after my release date, my mom asked me, she said, "Son, you gonna go to church with me Sunday?" I was like, "Of course I'm gonna go to church with you Sunday."
And AJ's mother remembered what Bishop Jakes had said.
And we're sitting there, church starts, and then Bishop starts talking about Joseph being in this prison and in this pit. And all of these things happen the first 30 years of his life.
Your second half's not gonna be like your first.
And AJ and I are sitting next to each other. I can't even look at him.
I'm not saying anything to her, but I'm kind of cornered out of my eye, like, how does he know these things? And then he comes down into the audience, you right there. And I'm like, and he was like, "Yeah, you, who looking around?" He's like, "Stand up for me."
Gentlemen up front here, yeah, that's looking all around, watching everybody like you're at the movies. Can I pray for you? Yeah, stand up for a minute. Thank you, Jesus. You're one of the ones that while I'm preaching, that I can sense God pulling on and tugging on and yanking on. And I'm so glad you're here. And the Lord meant for you to be up front. And I want to pray for you because you're special and because there's some things that God really longs to do in your life.
Bishop didn't know me and I didn't know him, but everything he was saying tied into my life.
AJ's mother's prayers were answered.
And when he calls him out, everything that our family has prayed for this restoration of his life, not just for family, but for his relationship with God. How God will come to him and say, "I see you and I'm still listening to you and I've got a plan for your life and I'm going to meet you right here and it's right now." That's what happened.
AJ says after this amazing experience with Bishop praying over him, there is not a chance his next 30 years will ever be what his first 30 were.